Hello. It is I, once again, the Bruce Wayne of War Thunder. And today I will be reviewing the Fw-190. And in particular, this is one of my favorite World War II aircraft. I remember when I was growing up, I always viewed it as like the bad guy aircraft. So I shall use, oh no wait, actually I'll use the Fw-190A4 for now. But I always viewed this as the bad guy's plane. So the Fw-190 had a very interesting development. It was like Kurt Tank basically tried to design a fighter for the German Air Force, and his entry lost to the Bf-109. So the Bf-109 became Germany's iconic fighter at the start of the war. They had produced a whole bunch of Bf-109s, and the Bf-109 was, at the time it was released, the most advanced and powerful fighter in the world. So World War II kicked off, and Bf-109s, they actually, if you count the start of World War II starting when Germany invaded Poland, Bf-109s actually first saw action in the Spanish Civil War. So it was a tried and true design, and the designer of the Focke-Wulf 190, Kurt Tank. Kurt Tank was, I think when he saw that his entry had lost, he had basically decided to redouble his efforts, and it made him more determined to make a new plane that was good, as good as or better than the Bf-109. So he took a whole bunch of inspiration, mainly from, surprisingly, the U.S. Navy and quite possibly Imperial Japan. I would have no doubt in my mind that Kurt Tank knew of the existence of the Japanese Zero, of which its development was classified throughout the 1930s. So both the U.S. Navy and the Japanese used radial engines, which were viewed as like kind of backwards since the start of World War II. Everyone used inline engines, which made the plane more streamlined and produced less drag. So Kurt Tank, he wanted to design the Focke-Wulf 190 with a radial engine that would make it more rugged and reliable, because a radial engine was in general a much more durable and reliable engine than an inline engine. Aside from that, I remember someone basically described the difference between the Bf-109 and the Focke-Wulf 190 as the difference between a racehorse and a warhorse, with the Bf-109 being the racehorse and the Focke-Wulf 190 being the warhorse. So the Focke-Wulf 190 was built basically to be like a fighter that was rugged and reliable, yet heavily armed, and to be able to be fast enough to deliver this firepower on a decent gun platform. And it was a masterpiece when it was finished. So it basically had this, the radial engine had the added effect of basically being a nice shield for the pilot in case he ran into a head-on gunfight. It took the radial engine was basically armor that would save the pilot's life in some cases. So and there's also numerous reports of Focke-Wulf 190 pilots being able to land their plane after receiving incredible amounts of punishment. But the Focke-Wulf 190 first saw combat near the ending stages of the Battle of Britain. So the Battle of Britain was the Germans' efforts to basically bomb the British Isles into being totally crippled and knocked out of the war. And when the Fw-190 first made contact with British planes, it ended up, I'm outnumbered here. I'm about to dive into an ambush. This is a bad move. Wildly outnumbered. Okay, wait. Never be the first to dive into a bunch of planes, a bunch of enemies. That's how you get shot. Anyway, so the Battle of Britain was the Germans' efforts to basically bomb the British out of the war. And when the British first encountered the Fw-190, they were completely taken off guard. So this British Spitfire could not outperform the Fw-190 in any envelope except for one, and that was it could outturn it. So the Fw-190 was a full leap ahead, and I would say it was probably the best fighter for the vast majority of the war. I'm trying to get this KI-61, but that is definitely a turn fighter, and oh, he got me. He got me on my, oh, snap. Yep, it looks like he wants to get into a turn fight with me. Okay, someone else knocked him off my tail. I have to thank that dude. That was a good save. The Fw-190 is a boom and zoom fighter for the most part in World of or in War Thunder. Well, that Zero wants a piece of me. And then there's some guy over here that is closer. He also wants a piece of me. Oh boy. He's turning away. Okay, they're turning away. So I could outrun them, and I think that's why they turned away. In any case, the Fw-190 was a mean surprise when it was first introduced, and it earned itself the nickname of being called the Butcher Bird by the Allies. So, I'm gonna go head-to-head with that VL right here. Here we go. Okay, I got him, but I don't know if he got, like my engine's out. I'm turning off my engine. Engine died. Okay, it's over. I'm done. I got him first, though. Technically, I won. Anyway, so the Fw-190 earned itself the nickname Butcher Bird when it was first introduced. And it was basically the best plane for the majority of World War II. The British pilots in particular really didn't like the Fw-190, and there's a friend of mine whose grandfather was a P-47 Thunderbolt pilot during World War II, and of all the planes he hated the most, the Fw-190 was at the top of his list, which says a lot about how good this plane really was. And needless to say, the place where the Fw-190 probably did the most damage in all of World War II was actually on the Eastern Front against the Russians. So Operation Barbarossa kicked off, and Hitler decided to invade Soviet Russia. And the Soviets at the time were completely unprepared for it. The German pilots were repeatedly saying how they thought that the Russians, their planes were all inadequate, their pilots were poorly trained, and this may have had to do with the fact that the Russian army had conducted a lot of purges of former Imperial Russian soldiers from World War I all throughout the 1930s. So pretty much all these new Russian pilots were basically there primarily for their political loyalty to the communists rather than actual competence. But their planes were poorly equipped. A lot of these planes were World War I planes even. And the Fw-190 pilots and Bf-109 pilots pretty much went to town on the Russians initially. I'm going to reply to this guy F4U, because that's the truth. Okay. So, the Fw-190, though, even then, it was still performing incredibly good against the best American and British fighters. The thing was, in the East, as the war progressed and things dragged on, the Russians actually started basically learning from their mistakes, and they started producing better planes like the Yak series of aircraft and the LA-5 and the LA-7, which were, I would say, not quite able to completely outperform the Focke-Wulf 190, but it was enough to basically put the Russians almost on par with them. And Russians got better pilots throughout the war, mainly because I guess it was a dark sort of case of natural selection, in which, you know, you survive a couple battles, you gain experience. So those experienced Russian pilots that managed to survive Operation Barbarossa eventually started teaching other pilots how to fight German planes. And the Germans pretty much tried to destroy the Russian Air Force in the first part of Operation Barbarossa. And for the most part, you could say they actually succeeded in completely crippling it. I have a comment in my chat box. Hello, Manfred von Richthofen. It's a very interesting name. It is the Focke-Wulf 190 is very good at head-on and boom and zoom tactics. This is true. And during the period of time when the Soviets started catching up to the Germans, they started introducing these new series of planes, and one plane that many Focke-Wulf 190 pilots did not like was the IL-2 Sturmovik. And it was because a lot of IL-2 Sturmoviks were built like tanks. They were heavily armored from the front and the back. And the Focke-Wulf 190 pilots, they would shoot at these, and they said that you had to keep your cannons aimed on them very well in order to bring them down. So you had to keep you burned through a lot of ammunition trying to bring them down as well. The main issue was that the IL-2 Sturmovik, it couldn't be brought down I would say in enough numbers before the Focke-Wulf 190 pilots ran out of ammo. So these IL-2 Sturmoviks that survived would end up doing absolute murder to German tanks when they got through the air patrols of the Germans. And this is what turned a lot of the ground war against the Germans. It was basically one of the aircraft instrumental in turning the tide for the Soviets to winning the war. In general, the Focke-Wulf 190, though, even then, on the Western Front, the British and Americans started producing better Spitfires. So they would improve the Spitfire, they would improve the P-47, and they improved the P-51. And that started, on top of all of this, the American industry was basically almost invincible at producing all kinds of munitions, and we started giving them to almost everyone trying to fight the Germans or the Japanese. I'm gonna get this guy right here. Got him. So the Germans started finding Spitfires being flown by Soviet pilots. They started finding the P-39 Air Cobra, and they also started finding aircraft like the P-47 and all kinds of what they called Anglo-American aircraft designs. And it wasn't so much the fact that the Focke-Wulf 190 was losing its advantage, because the Germans were also improving the Focke-Wulf 190 in the process, but it was the fact that the Americans were producing so many planes. The amount of production capacity of the United States during World War II was astounding. It really was what won the war for the Allies. So, and the Germans, they really couldn't produce as many Focke-Wulf 190s or Bf-109s in enough numbers to match the amount of planes that the Allies were putting up. In general, another thing though is what's telling us the Focke-Wulf 190 was in particular extremely good. I'm about to dive into this furball right here. This looks like a 3-on-2 battle, and I'm about to even it up. Okay, no wait, they got one guy wounded. Okay, I'm gonna go after him. Okay, that was not a good pass, but I got another shot at him. Okay, I'm losing my G-lock. This guy's after me. Spitfire. Okay. There we go. Got one. Whew. Yeah, that's Spitfire. I cannot outturn the Spitfire. I could probably outrun it. But, the Focke-Wulf 190, it can outrun the Spitfire in most cases. It just cannot get involved in a turning fight with it. So I'm going to be jinking and jiving. Actually, I think he doesn't have his cannons. He's out of cannon ammo. He only has machine guns, so he can't... It's going to be a while before he can really bring me down. Oh, I think he's... Yeah, he turned around. He must have run out of ammunition. Okay. Well, his loss. So, at the same time, I would say the United States and the UK, or Great Britain, technically, decided to start resorting to these large strategic bombing raids, and it involved putting massive amounts of B-17s, B-25s, all these heavy lumbering bombers with lots of bombs, trying to drop them on basically Germany's production. Okay, I have to kill this guy in one pass or it's over. Got him. Okay, I should probably land. I think my engine's messed up. Yeah, my engine's hit, and I'm leaking oil. Okay, I'm gonna head back to the airbase. I need to repair. IL-2 Sturmovik. I could shoot one of these down just for historical reasons. Let's see how much it takes. Oh, there we go. Got one. Ah, he's up there. Ah, I ain't gonna burn the fuel for that. Anyway, so during these massive bombing raids, the United States and the the United States Air Force and the Royal Air Force really would team up, and the Royal Air Force resorted to, oh, I need to watch out for that guy. The Royal Air Force resorted to conducting bombing raids at night. So they would do nighttime raids, and during the day, the United States Air Force would be conducting raids of their own in these bright daylight bombing raids. Okay, this was probably not the best move, trying to attack him, because now I'm drawn into a turning fight and I am at a disadvantage. So I'm going to go max engine throttle and race towards the airbase to get away from him. Oh, see, I'm outrunning him, but he can still... Okay, never mind. It looks like I got away. Okay, I got away. I got a couple of hits on him, too. Nothing enough to bring him down, though. Anyway, so the Focke-Wulf 190 and the Bf-109 were pretty much trying to work together to fight off these bombing raids. And it is greatly telling that there were more American servicemen killed in the European theater in bombing raids, B-17 bombing raids, than there were in the entire ground campaign of the European theater. And that is also kind of telling to how effective the Focke-Wulf 190 was, because it really was in most cases a superior design to most of the Allied and American designs and the British designs as well. Okay, I think... Okay, smooth, slightly odd landing, but smooth enough. No problem. So the Fw-190, it was a very durable plane, a very heavily armed plane, and when it came down to it, it just may not have been able to outturn the Spitfire, but it had definitely had enough firepower to bring down B-17s, P-47 Thunderbolts, and when it came across the P-51 Mustang, here's the issue with the P-51 Mustang is that most of the time when... Oh, I did get him. Huh, I guess those shots crippled him. Most of the time when the P-57 or the P-51 Mustang came across a Focke-Wulf 190, it was able to actually have enough fuel to fight and put it on a somewhat equal playing field, which was not the case with the P-47 nor the Spitfire, because during most of these bombing raids, the goal of the Allied fighters was in general to fight off the Bf-109s and Focke-Wulf 190s so the bombers could get through. And the Focke-Wulf 190s and the Bf-109s, their goal was to bring down as many bombers as possible. So the fighters, when the U.S. Air Force, the best plane they had was the P-47 at the time for bombing raids in the early stages of these bombing raids. The P-47 simply didn't have the range. So they would basically fly out, and then there was a point where they had to reach... there was a point where they lost too much fuel, and then they had to go back. And the P-51 Mustang, that was not the case. So the P-51 Mustang actually had the range to go out all with the bombers all the way over Germany from the British Islands and get into a dogfight with all the German planes and then come back. So the Focke-Wulf 190s, they found it was like the first time they got themselves into kind of a mostly even fight in mass numbers. Still though, the Focke-Wulf 190 it constantly evolved throughout the war, and this resulted in the Focke-Wulf 190 D series. And the D series is arguably, quite possibly, the best fighter of World War II. The German pilots at first looked at it as a desperate attempt to win the war, but it was pretty much the Germans trying to strap a bomber engine to the front of the Focke-Wulf 190, and it ended up being a spectacular plane. It was able to outperform all Allied planes in that theater. The problem was it just came too late in the war for it to matter. So it came too late for it in the war, and the Germans, they basically had too few of these planes to even matter. So the planes they did put up, they did do astounding in terms of performance, and they did actually perform well in combat. But it was a matter of it wasn't just the Allies they were competing with. The Soviets started producing a whole bunch of their own planes, and this basically one historian put it best in a better way that I could put it is that the Luftwaffe was like a blanket, and it was too small for the job it was supposed to do. And during the end of the war, it was being pulled on from all sides until eventually it was ripped apart. Which I cannot think of a better and more fitting description of the German Air Force during World War II than that. It was like they did exceptionally well as long as they stuck to short, quick operations against opponents that they could easily meet in sufficient numbers. I'm going to dive on this wyvern. I think I got him already. He's going straight forward. He's trying to do his bombing run. Oh, I hit him already. Got him. Wait, that was some... Okay. He still dropped his bombs, though, so I didn't save the base. I got him, though, so that's what matters. Dang. Okay. Anyway. So back to the Fw-190. So the Fw-190 was, in general, it was one of the, maybe possibly the best plane of World War II. Possibly the best plane in terms of all-around performance and actual combat, because during the, it was also used as a ground attack aircraft later. Mainly when Germany started getting desperate, they found out that their Ju-87 Stukas were simply incapable of doing the bombing job on the Eastern Front. And that's when they first noticed it. The Ju-87 started getting run down by newer Soviet planes. So the German Air Force responded by taking the Fw-190 and upgrading it with better weapons and bombs and rockets and all kinds of new kits. And the whole goal was to create oh, that guy took my engine out. Another Fw-190 player. Okay, I'm definitely not going to make it back to base. Yeah, my engine is gone. Yeah, it's gone. Well, this was an interesting match. You know what? I'm going to see if I can get revenge. I'm going to see if I can get revenge on that guy. That's him right up there, diving right now. That's the guy who knocked out my engine. Okay, he's down, but I'm still going to shoot at him. This is for vengeance sake. God. Because I'm evil. Oh. Okay, that was worth it. So worth it. Okay, now my plane can crash in peace. Anyway. Okay, I'm not gonna get that guy, I don't think. Let's see if I can do an emergency landing. Anyway, so the Fw-190, its story is basically this. It was the best for most of the war. It just couldn't be produced in enough numbers to change the tide of the war entirely. And oh my goodness, it's gonna be bad. Okay. That was kind of fun. Sometimes I like trying an emergency landing. Anyway, that is my conclusive review on the Fw-190. And this has been OG Investigator. If you like my content, please like and subscribe. Farewell and following seas, my fellow War Thunder players. Take it easy.